Hi.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. It feels nice to not be freezing.
We finally got our temperature. We found some homeostasis, I would say, in the studio, but I'm still on the chillier side. However, I'd rather it be a little cool because we always end up hot by the end of it.
This is true. Yeah.
Here we are after our When We Were Young adventure.
I know we're a little brain dead. By the time you're hearing this, it'll have been like nearly 2 weeks post When We Were Young, but it's still fresh for me.
Yeah, I mean, and then they've already heard that we've had Teffy on, so we didn't want to bore her with that. So we'll bore you with it. We should talk about our When We Were Young experience.
You know, nothing more humbling than going to a festival.
Welcome to Disrespectfully
with Katie Maloney
and Dayna Kathan.
Unapologetically,
we're here to do what we want to do.
Spilling the tea.
Babe, you're going to see the power of women. Like,
disrespectfully. I don't think I could hang. I know I can't hang, but it's like when you're really trying to rally to hang, you get knocked on your ass.
Yeah. I mean, I had higher hopes for this since it was only 2 days as opposed to Coachella, which is 3. And then also when there's the same lineup for both days, you can kind of pick and choose your own adventure. But my adventure started obviously on Friday night. You had that event, the
Emo night.
Had a little emo night event. Mommy did too much. And I still do not understand. I don't think I was deserving of the punishment that I had the next day based on what I had drank, but I was very ill in the morning.
You were definitely loving life.
Yeah, I was
that night.
I was living, but I still think that I've done worse and been better. And I was very, very sick. I will save you the details, and got up at 7 a.m. and was sick for a few hours. And then I was like, wow, I feel surprisingly okay. Like, I think I'm going to get away with this and I'm going to be okay. And then the evening came, the early evening, and I started to wilt away.
Yeah.
And it was unfortunate. But
I was just the most tired I've ever been in my life for like no real reason other than a festival, but like I didn't stay out super late or drink a ton any of the nights or days, but I just could not wake up.
Well, and you and Nick went back after the emo night thing.
Oh, yeah.
Which was smart because then we all carried on.
I know when you were like, we're going to go to the other emo night, I was like, sure about that?
You sure about that?
You sure about that? Like, yeah, just stop by. And I'm like, that's not a casual like cruise by. It's like a full on club.
No, it definitely wasn't. I mean, and it was fun while it lasted. But then, we had to. Also, part of what I think our problem was, I don't know. I truly think it was discrimination by floor. But you guys were only a floor above us. And Fleur told us that she could get room service and at night, but for us at night, Grubhub was the only option. We called and they're like, oh no, you can only do Grubhub. And I've never heard of a hotel.
I don't know about
that.
night, but in the morning we could.
Okay. I don't know.
I don't think she got it at night.
Okay. I thought that Courtney said she heard someone had done it. So I was like, really? Wouldn't have heard that.
They made us jump through a billion hoops and it was also the most expensive breakfast ever. But
I mean, I believe that, but
like, I'm mad about that.
Are you? I have some grievances for the weekend. So should we get into grievance corner?
Well, first, how about what was your highlight? What was your favorite part?
Okay. I would say, I mean, the obvious one is Caleb. We saw Caleb perform and he dedicated
the song.
He dedicated a song to Summer Club, which was really moving. I think the first night we were surprised by it, but the second night, I don't know. He was so in his power during the second show on the second night. So it was really like I got emotional several times, and also it's possibly a combination of exhaustion and different things.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of tie-tie.
It was a little tie-tie, but it was just like emotional seeing him so in his element, and that was amazing. But then I don't know, there was a bunch of Courtney really wanted to see Yellow Card, so we went in super early on the first day to see them, and watching her be so happy because she's a mom of 2 and she doesn't really get to do things like this a lot. So seeing her be so happy was like truly such a special thing for me. Obviously just being with us, our group, and there were bands I was excited about. I loved The Used. I loved Blink. I loved, who else did I see? I can't even remember.
I don't know. I feel like I didn't see you a lot of the time.
I know we kept seeing each other.
I didn't go to the main stages one time.
Oh, okay.
Not even one time. And I feel like that's where you were spent most of the time. I was mostly between like the Ghost and Alliance stage. But we watched, what did we watch?
I know. I'm like still brain dead on that. It's like when someone asks you a movie you're like, and you're like, I've never seen cinema.
No, that means I know I didn't see Blink. No, I didn't see Panic at the Disco. The problem is those areas get so massively congested and there's just too many people. It stresses me out. Like I feel like between where we were hanging most of the time and those stages, it was just really easy to get around. And I liked that. No.
Well, we were fortunate because we know someone who knows Blink. We were side stage for most of that show. So but even the side stage then, because it's Blink, was really crowded. So we then went out to the front of house, but it was like so far back.
Mm-hmm.
But randomly, I think I told you guys, but Kourtney was there with her baby, which was crazy to me. She walked right by us. Kourtney Kardashian walked right by us with her baby. And I was kind of surprised that she had the baby out there, but security was really crazy as Blink was starting. And then it occurred to me that that's probably why. I just didn't even think about that. But,
absolutely.
But it's always fun to see them. We had much better view of them when we saw them in Vegas last year. It was like still fun, but I was
there's just some bands that like I don't want to see at a festival.
Yeah.
And that's mostly bigger bands. Like I just don't want to see, like, I mean, seeing like last year I saw like My Chem and that was really great, but I got to watch them from like front of house. I wasn't smashed in a crowd. Like when I watched Pierce the Veil, it was so fucking packed. I was basically up against the fence. I was like, this isn't it for me.
No, it's so stressful when it's like that. So that's the reason that we like, and then when we saw the U's the next day, we just had the same passes. So it wasn't, and we got to be on the little like platform thing like for Caleb. So it was really nice. Mm-hmm. What were your highlights?
My favorite set of the whole weekend is probably Alexis on Fire. Oh my God, are they fucking good. And also like just so cool. Like they're like to have a band that has like 3 frontmen like that, all like very different sounding. But they're just iconic, and like I like got emotion watching them as well because like they were so good. Nick and I watched Bad Religion, and that was really awesome. Like, listen, these old guys can rock still, so that was very cool to see them. And then obviously watching Caleb perform. It was a little bit bittersweet because I know like Nick was feeling better by that time about them not being able to play, but when he knows you're supposed to play and like you're watching your friends play and that whole thing, like it definitely gets to you, but. I don't know. And then I also just like the hangs. I liked running into people I don't get to see very often and like catching up with them and just like having a little kiki. But I thought it was such a good time. I really enjoyed it.
I did too. One of the other highlights was there was a McDonald's on the walk home directly in our path. You like literally had to walk by it. So on the Saturday, I just was feeling so bad. I really wanted to see Panic, but I left halfway through Blink set. I just could not do it. So I went back to reset. And then fortunately, Sunday I felt much better. So on the way back, me and Kourtney stopped at McDonald's and got a big ass order, and just it was so much better than Grubhub. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So the Grubhub food we got Friday night was disgusting, and the options were so limited, and it was just like a basket of fried shit that was bad. Like there's nothing worse than fried things that are bad. So I truly believe that contributed to me how ill I felt.
Probably.
But yeah, it just didn't sit with me right. But okay, a couple grievances. I think that because it's such a new festival, perhaps they're still working these kinks out.
It's the 4th year. It's not new.
Okay, well, I was just trying to understand why it was like this. I personally think, not trying to be a bitch and talk shit, but every single person that was working that festival that I asked a question to had a different response. And for the side stages and for the back area, the security people were really confused at all times. We had the wristbands and they would like, literally at one point when we were on the main stage, the guy had his wristband like on his bag, and I showed him the thing and he looked at me like I was showing him a baby unicorn, and then he looked at his fanny pack and then was like, compared the two and then was like, okay, come on. And I'm like, okay, I know you probably have multiple jobs, but I feel like the one thing as security in the back is you should know immediately what wristbands are for what stage you're watching. So there was a lot of that. There was a lot of even the people throughout the festival. I don't know. No one just seemed to know what was going on.
I don't ask any people. I just assume that no one knows anything what's going on. That's like going to the airport. That's like going like anywhere. Like no one knows anything. Even when you go to crypto, that arena ain't fucking new, but everyone that works there is an idiot. No offense. I don't give a shit. Like guys, come on, get it together.
It was a workforce of silly geese and ding dongs. And again, I'm not trying to be rude. Oh, there was also a lot of people that were just super nice. Like a lot of the bartenders were so kind, and I really appreciate that. But if you're at a festival like that with that many people, everyone should have a basic understanding of what's going on. I will say
it's a little confusing because they have all like, okay, there's obviously GA, there's VIP, then there's artists, and then there's artist guest. I don't know what the difference between artist and artist guest is, because like I would imagine if you're an artist, you don't need any stage bands for anything. Like it's kind of like having all access, right? And then with artist guests, I think that would mean that they would need to have like a wristband. Like to me, that makes sense, but they just were like enforcing everyone to have a wristband. Which was a pain in the ass a little bit. I don't know. Listen, this might be champagne problems, but
I know. I'm like, I hope we don't. Allison, do we sound like dicks right now? I hope we don't sound like dicks. I'm sorry. We're not trying to come across that way, but I just think logistically there were some problems, and also again, this is champagne problems, but at least at Coachella, there's artist guest viewing area that is separated from the rest of the crowd, even from VIP. And this was all VIP. And I just felt like the majority of the crowd was VIP. So it was very like the second you got out there, you were in the thick of it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it's a smaller area than a Coachella. So there's just like not the space to like have different viewing areas like that. So that's why I think they try to accommodate side stage stuff. But
again, I hope we don't sound like dicks, but I felt even with we went to the information booth at one point because I didn't know the lay of the land. This was my first year going. So when we weren't with you guys, I just kind of didn't know what was going on or how, like asking like, hey, what's the best route to get to this place? And yeah, it just felt a little confusing. Felt a little confusing sometimes, but overall, very fun weekend. The first day was really hot. The second day I went in later, so I was okay, but I was surprised at how boiling I was the first day.
Yeah. That was my issue too, the dang heat.
Oh, and then my fun adventure coming back. We got to the airport, and right when we got to the airport, and it's funny because I was listening back to our last Friday episode, and I was like, hope there aren't logistical problems because people are starting to get paid half. We walked in the airport, and Monica goes, "Oh my God, we're delayed," and it was 4 hours, and we were like, shit. So we didn't know what to do, and we're like, hey, it's a 4-hour drive to LA, so how long do we wait this out? Like, so we almost left, and then we're like, okay, now it's moved back up, I think, to 2.5 hours, so let's go back in. We went to this restaurant. I'm not even joking. The server was zooted out of her mind. She was high. So everything was weird. Like we're like, hey, if we're going to sit here for 3 hours, let's get drinks. Ordered a Bloody Mary. It took her an hour to get it to us. By the time it came to it, it was warm tomato soup. I took one sip of it and was like, I don't know if I can drink this. And Monica was basically like, I don't think she'll be able to get us another drink. So we should just push through this. She was all over the place. She forgot her, which I understand sometimes. At one point, we decided, okay, it now got pushed back. We're going to rent a car. We're going to drive to LA.
Crazy.
Horrible, horrible decision. But we asked for the receipt. She came back and handed Monica a tiny plastic sword and walked away. In what world is it? We were like delirious by this point, laughing with the sword. Monica kept the sword.
Don't do drugs.
I'm going to frame it and put it in here because we just could not believe out of all the things you could give when you're asking for a receipt. So we ended up leaving. Everyone else had the same idea to rent a car. So we waited an hour to get the car.
You're crazy.
It was such a bad decision, but in the moment we just thought it was going to be right. Long story short, the plane landed an hour before we got back to LA. So it was just
especially like, okay, if it's delayed, whatever. I'd rather hang out. There's no amount of money that's going to get me in a car to drive that drive. I don't care if I'm sitting passenger seat. I don't care. It's only a 45-minute flight at the end of the day. So
yeah, it was a poor choice. But the thing is, me and Raleigh do that drive a lot. So it's like I'm different than you.
I've done that drive 150,000 times. I hate it.
Look, poor decision making on our part, but we were also like we were looking for a lounge. There was no lounge in our area, so the restaurant we were out. Like, can we sit here for?
I was like, you didn't try another terminal?
No, we didn't go. We should have gone to just another terminal. But hey, look, coulda, woulda, shoulda.
You should have gone to the Delta terminal where there's 100% a lounge and 100% a Chili's.
Chili's?
I told you guys. I was like, go to Chili's.
I thought you were joking.
No.
Okay, I didn't know. It was like being at the Burbank airport. So I was like, am I going to sit at the Burbank airport for this amount of hours? Anywho, we all made it back though.
What are you talking about? Harry Reid is a massive airport.
Okay, well, it felt like Chili's because we couldn't find anything.
The problem is all the, like, you have to take the little tram thing to like all the different terminals. But like, sorry about that.
You know, we lived it. We learned it. Never again.
Yeah, by the time you got home, I had been on my couch for like a good 2.5 hours.
Oh, we know.
After we had lunch.
Know. We're aware. We're like, I hope their smash burgers are great.
They were delicious. Anyways, should we do this episode?
Yeah, I guess we probably should. Let's jump into some hometown heroes.
Okay.
Sissy says, spooky story. The little girl who lived in my daughter's room.
Oh boy.
Hi ladies, Gen X Day One listener here. Not a Day One Vanderpump Rules watcher, but don't worry, I've seen them all now. I own a pet sitting biz, and if it's on Bravo, I'll leave it on for the animals when I leave. Love that for them.
Yeah.
Anywho, I wanted to write in on so many topics. Boy, do I have some hometown hero stories for you. But since it's almost spooking season, I'm sending my first one in. So when me and my ex-husband moved into our house in 2003, I could always feel something in what would end up being in my daughter's room. She was born and was at the babbling stage. My friend and I could tell there was something or someone who she was babbling to all the time. Later that year, a lady walked by who was visiting her parents down the street while I happened to be outside. She had grown up down the street. She proceeds to tell me how her best...
Sorry, I'm opening a cheese.
I'll give you a sec. Okay. Oh, we have Baby Bell. That's what you've been eating.
I brought this from home.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
It's like Disneyland. Well, I happened to be outside. She had grown up down the street. She proceeds to tell me about how her best friend from middle school died in that room back in the 80s. She had leukemia and was on hospice. Her name was Tanya. Fast forward a couple years, and I'm in the middle of divorcing my ex-husband. I had stopped by there for lunch while he was out of town on business to check on the dogs. I was on the phone for the first time with this psychic astrology guy, who is very fucking amazing, by the way. Anyway, my daughter is down the street in Montessori. I read that really quickly and thought I was going to say Missouri. I was like, your daughter goes to Missouri during the day? I had mentioned in the beginning of the session that I had a daughter. Well, at the very end of the session, he brought her up. He asked if she was there because he thought I said she was at school. I said, nope, she's at school. And he says, well, there's a little girl in there. To which I reply, no, Sydney's at school. So he then replied, well, who's Tanya? Right fucking then, Sid's bedroom door shuts. Needless to say, I hightailed it out of the house. Duh. I have since done everything needed to help the crossover. While she was a very friendly spirit, she needed to move on. I told Sid the story from years ago, and we talk and laugh about it all the time now. Truly hoping Tanya found the peace she so deserves. My ex doesn't know, he would lose it. I have a couple more spookies I might write in, maybe a hometown or two. We'll see. But if I feel compelled to write this story because I have one more thing to say. As a 51-year-old mom and having just gone through a fuck ton of therapy, I was thrilled that the topic of negative self-talk has come to the forefront. Y'all are so smoking hot ladies, and I just want to shake you really hard, then hug you harder when you say negative things about yourself. Trust me, when you're my age, you'll look back at this age and want to kick your own ass for ever thinking those things. Menopause is a fucking asshole. When I could totally rage with y'all as if I were as young as you, my mama bear comes out when you say negative things about yourselves. I wanted to write in and scold y'all for so long, and well, here we finally fucking are. Keep being the badass bitches y'all are. Y'all impress me on the reg. Really hoping one day I organically run into either or both of you and hug your necks and snap a pic. Okay, love you, bye. Sissy from Texas, soon to be Colorado, fuck Greg Abbott.
That's just like snap your neck.
I thought that too.
I'm like, easy, sissy.
I'm assuming she meant with how her hug would be. I don't think she wants to kill us.
Listen,
but
I know. I've been talking about myself this way since like day one.
I know.
And now I look back, I'm like, why did I say that? Now I have the problems I didn't think, that I thought I had then, but I did,
Well, I thought this was, first of all, a good ghost story. So thank you for writing.
Great.
And that's crazy for him
Also,
to be on the phone with him and him go, who's Tanya? I'm
also
like,
kind of crazy that lady's like, so my friend died in your house. I'd be like, things I didn't need to know today. Thank you.
For 500. I thought that was a good reminder for all of us, because I think that you and I preach that a lot and then are guilty of it. Obviously we are. And I do try to be aware of it. But,
not perfect.
But it's hard. It's hard to remember. And we're lucky to be healthy, functioning, normal gals with great lives. So I do try to hold on to that. And also definitely fuck Greg Abbott.
Yeah. Faux show. Okay. Listen, I still love a good night out, but I'm not always in the mood to drink. Luckily, I found a great alternative. Soul's Out of Office Gummies. They give me that same light, happy buzz without the hangover, sugar, or awkward next morning.
Soul is a wellness brand that believes feeling good should be fun and easy. Soul specializes in delicious hemp-derived THC and CBD products designed to boost your mood and to help you unwind.
Their best-selling out-of-office gummies were designed to provide a mild, relaxing buzz, boost your mood, and enhance creativity and relaxation. With 5 different strengths, you can tailor the dose to fit your vibe, from a gentle 1.5 milligram microdose to their newest Big Daddy 15 milligram gummy for a more elevated experience.
And if you like their out-of-office gummies, try the new out-of-office beverage, a refreshing alcohol-free alternative that's perfect for winding down on the couch or socializing with friends.
Soul has a variety of products specifically designed to help you get a better night's rest, including their top-selling Sleepy Gummies, a fan favorite for deep, restorative sleep.
With wellness at the forefront, you can feel good about what you're putting in your body. All of Soul's products are made from organically farmed, USA-grown hemp and are vegan, gluten-free, low in sugar, and federally legal.
Bring on the good vibes and treat yourself to Soul today. Right now, Soul is offering our audience 30% off your entire order. Go to getsoul.com and use the code disrespectfully. That's getsoul.com, promo code disrespectfully for 30% off. Dana says, Dana with a Y.
Oh.
Hometown story. Hi, ladies. Of course, to start, I have loved you both since VPR days. Dana, when I first saw your name pop up on the TV, I gasped because it's so rare for me to see another Dana with a Y. And we have similar last names. Justice for Dana with a Y's. It is not Diana or fucking Danya, Doy. Doy. Anywho, When I was in the much hated 7th/8th grade, I had a bully who was the biggest, most jealous of all time. Let's call her Ashley. We fought over the same 5 out of 10 of a guy, LOL, so much she even put gum in my hair. That's another story though. Can we bring back putting gum in people's hair? I think some people need that. Anyways, that's another story though. My bestie at the time, Addie, and I used to shop at Mandy's all the time. You're a real one if you know. Do you know what Mandy's is?
I've never heard of that.
I don't know. Maybe it's a regional thing.
Yokel store?
It's a regional thing. At Mandy's, they had this thong. Think like a thick band, like the Calvin Klein kind. But around the border of the thong, it said, I heart boys. Enough said. We both bought 2 pairs each. Fast forward to the dreaded middle school lunch and the clicky tables. Ugh, truly hate those times. My bestie Addie and I, of course, sat together with a couple of other girls. The most popular kids table with Ashley and others were behind us, but in our sights. A nice girl, Zoe, at their table came over and tapped me on the shoulder and whispered, oh my God, Dayna, pull up your pants. No, it wasn't my butt crack that was out of the back of my Hollister low-rise jeans. It was I Heart Boys thong sticking out high and proud. I turned around and everyone was snickering, and Ashley had the biggest smile on her face. Fast forward, after many more indiscretions with Ashley, she was sent to Catholic school, and I went to thrive through the lovely public school system, LMAO. I thought you two would enjoy this silly, embarrassing yet cutesy story. Love you, gorgeous girls, Dayna.
I thought she was going to say she stole them. So she was.
Oh,
leaps
sorry, I
and
skipped a
bounds
part. Her and her bestie were begging their moms to let them buy thongs.
How old were you when you started wearing thongs?
I don't know. Probably in high school, maybe.
I was young. I probably regularly was wearing them in 6th grade, but I got my first one, I remember, because I was on a trip in 5th grade. That's crazy to let a 5th grader wear a thong.
I think that's our age difference because they weren't really like a thing until I was in high school.
Oh, it was like a huge thing. Like,
well, yeah, I mean, we probably started wearing them the same time, but not the same age. Does that make sense?
yes, because that's when it came into being a fashion. Oh yeah, I remember I wanted a thong so bad. I mean, my mom was strict about safety things, but then like she let me get my belly button pierced when I was 13, which that's a crazy. I feel like that's a really young age to have your belly button pierced.
Yeah.
I'm like,
oh my God, I was never gonna pierce. Like my mom would have like killed me if I pierced my belly button.
do you remember how old you were when you started shaving your legs?
Oh my God. The first time I shaved my legs, I went into like my mom's bathroom in a drawer, and in the back of the drawer, I found like an old razor. Who knows how long I've been there. And I shaved my legs because when I was really young, I had like hairy arms. I had hairy legs.
How old were you?
I was probably like in 5th or 6th grade. I was super, super young. And my mom found out about it, of course, but I hadn't like cut myself or anything like that. She just was like, what happened there? And I remember my dad reaching over and like going like this. She got them pretty smooth.
Leg shape, were they mad?
No, my mom was like, oh my God. She's like, where did you find it? She goes, that's an old razor. If you cut yourself, you could have hurt yourself. You could have gotten an infection. She was just like, why don't you ask me? And I was like, I don't know, ma'am.
Because I was afraid you'd say no, so I'd rather do it and ask for forgiveness later.
Life would be so much easier if I drank more water and just asked for things, but I don't.
Yeah. No,
why?
You sure don't. I have pictures in the back of my baby book. There's a couple like adult picture or like older pictures of me shaving my legs for the first time. Brittany like showing me how to do it with like shaving cream. My mom was like just in the bathroom, probably crying, like taking photos.
That's really cute.
So silly.
See, I always wish I had a sister to do those kind of things with.
What? Rocky and Joey weren't helping you shave your legs?
No. I mean, I got plenty of sibling fighting, so it's like sister fights are, I know, a little bit different, but we still fought a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Camille says, spooky story. Hi, queens and team. Allison, looking at you.
Hey.
I have a super quick semi-spooky story that is ultimately comforting, at least to me. When I was 10 years old, I adopted my best friend from Humane Society. He grew up to be a spunky, fat, orange and white cat named Nacho. I attached a picture for reference. Can you send that to us, Allison?
Oh.
Anyways, after 16 full years of love, sadly, he passed away in May. Naturally, I have been a complete wreck. During one particularly hard night, I was laying in bed. I felt a familiar sensation of something jumping on the edge of the bed and curling up onto my legs. This was Nacho's favorite place to lay. When I looked to see if it was one of the other animals, there was nothing on my bed. That night, I had a dream where I was holding Nacho and it felt so real. When I woke up, I could still feel the pressure of him in my arms. I have heard of past human loved ones visiting family members, but never of past pets. I am comforted to know that my baby is now a ghost and still with me. Optional second ghost story below. This is not the first time I have been visited by ghosts. When I was in 5th grade, my family, oh my God.
Nacho.
Wait, Nacho is so cute.
Oh, cute. Okay.
R.I.P. Nacho. When I was in 5th grade, my family moved into a home that a disabled child died in. A part of his physical therapy happened in the hot tub room attached to the basement. There were windows into the hot tub room, and I would see the boy in there often. At first it scared me, but once I got used to him, I would turn on the TV and watch cartoons with him on the weekends. LOL. Thanks for reading my story. Love you guys, Camille.
Why are both those such like sweet, wholesome, scary stories?
I love a wholesome, scary story. Okay, Nacho is adorable. I actually had heard on another podcast, that's why I picked this one, of something similar happened, but it was a couple in bed and their dog had just died. And they both felt the dog jump on their bed. And at the same time, they sat up and looked at each other and said the dog's name. So I fully believe this is my point.
Chills.
Also, after Leo died, who was my first cat, who's at the top of my shelf behind me here. Did I ever tell you this? I slept with his ashes in my bed for like 2 months. I don't know. Pets are our families. I totally get it. And I'm comforted to know that Nacho's visiting you too.
I know. And for all the people that say if your pet's in bed with you, no.
I couldn't imagine not sleeping
I
with.
share my pillow with Butter and his stinky head.
I'm like, stick your litter feet in my mouth. I don't care. You can do whatever you want.
Honestly,
you can cook my dinner for me if you want. Like, I trust you.
You can use my toothbrush.
Yeah.
Not that he would, stinky breath. Anyway, Jillian says, spooky. I'm loving all the spooky tales.
We're on theme. And actually, wait. This episode comes out on Halloween.
Oh, happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Ooh.
Oh my God. Happy Halloween.
Ooh, happy Halloween. Okay. Hello, beautiful ladies. As we are slowly approaching Halloween, I figured what better time than to share with you two ghouls, my very real. You get that?
Yes, I do. It took me a second. My two
ghouls. My very real, very spooky ghost story. Picture this. I'm house sitting for my two lovely lesbian aunts who have a beautiful but very old home. The home was once occupied by another family where the mother passed away from old age and the son passed away via taking his old life. Yikes, I know. So lots of energy happening there. So it's safe to say that's always felt a little spooky whenever I visit. Growing up, my sister and I would spend our summers up there, but never experienced anything too creepy besides the occasional footsteps at night. Anywho, back to my house sitting story. I'm at the house alone and honestly having the time of my life with some Italian takeout, 2 animals to snuggle with, a cat and a dog to be specific. After watching a few episodes of The Office in the living room, I decided to switch the TV off and leave the remote on the couch with the dog. I turned out all the lights and made my way to the spare bedroom, where the cat was waiting for me. However, I was woken from my slumber to the sound of the TV in the living room turning on, full volume. This, of course, jolted me awake, and I immediately grabbed my phone to see what time it was. 3:30 a.m. exactly. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the witching hour. I mustered up the courage to walk back into the living room, and in a dazed, sleepy mind, I tried to rationalize it. I saw the dog still laying on the couch and thought, silly dog, he must have sat on the remote. After poking around his butt for a minute, I realized he wasn't laying on the remote. I felt a strange sensation go through my body and heard a voice in my head saying, turn around.
Turn around.
When I turned, there I saw the remote resting on the armchair of the recliner. I was not sitting in the recliner, nor did I leave the remote there. I am adamant on that. What did I do next, you might be wondering. I simply turned the TV off and say out loud, haha, very funny, but I'm too tired to deal with this right now. And took my little butt right back to bed. When I recalled this story in the morning to my aunts over the phone, they couldn't believe I stayed the rest of the night and joked it was probably the ghost of the old woman playing a trick on me. Whatever it was, didn't feel evil or mean, maybe just a ghost playing a prank at 3 a.m. Or at least that's what I'm hoping. Thank you for reading my story and I hope it gave you a spook. P.S. My sister and I love listening to the pod and visit the sandwich shop often. Thank you, ladies. Keep killing it. Well, thanks for coming to the sandwich shop.
Yeah.
Also, like, why is it always when the TV comes on when a ghost turns, it's full volume?
I don't know. Probably because they're trying to get your attention, but it is always full volume.
Full volume.
Yeah.
I don't want that kind of activity in the middle of the night.
Well, it's always in the middle of the night.
I know, but like, would you rather be awoken to an earthquake or to a haunting?
It for me would depend on good ghost or bad ghost. Good ghost, probably the ghost, because the fright that I get from it's so jarring waking up from an earthquake. And also, I would say 90% of the earthquakes that happen here are also in the middle of the night.
Also at night.
Why can't it just be during the day?
Well, sometimes it is when I'm sitting on my couch eating a taco.
I could just see you.
No, I just sit there. I'm like, and then I just go back to eating.
What do you do when it's in the middle of the night? You just stay there rolling around?
What do you mean? I do nothing.
I mean, that is your general
I lay
response?
there and I'm like,
I definitely just stay there and roll.
yeah, I'm just sort of like frozen,
over.
being like, do I get up? Do I lay here? Do I like? I forget. That's the problem is when you're asleep, you're not thinking rationally of like, what's the next move here?
Well,
and I'm also not wearing clothes.
I'm also, first of all, in the buff. Second of all, there's nothing over my head. So I always just figure, just I'm just going to sit here doing this. Laszlo kind of just perks up and I'm like, girl, I don't know. Why are you looking at me?
We're in this together.
Jen says, Ghost Feet. Good morning, Dana and Katie. Love the pod. My boyfriend's father passed away in his lake house when he was 18 years old. My boyfriend inherited the lake house and we moved in after college. One weekend, when my boyfriend was away on business, his mother came to stay with me. I came home around 11 p.m. The house was dark except for a light over the sink in the kitchen that's always left on. The blinds in the kitchen window were about 75% of the way down, but I could see my boyfriend's mother's feet walking back and forth across the kitchen. I could see the bottom of a pair of sweatpants and her ankles. I made my way to the house and thought I'd have a drink with her before bed. I walked in and maybe 15 seconds had passed and the kitchen was empty. I walked to the guest bedroom at the far end of the house and peeked in and heard my boyfriend's mom snoring in the dark. The next day, I told her I'd seen her feet through the window when I got home and wanted to have a nightcap with her. She told me she'd been asleep in bed since 9 p.m. Thinking she could possibly have been sleepwalking, I described what I had seen. She told me she didn't own any sweatpants and asked if they had been blue. When I said yes, she informed me that my boyfriend's dad slept in blue sweatpants every night.
Oh.
I don't believe in ghosts, yet I feel like I definitely saw one. Disrespectfully, Jen. Oh, I believe that was the dad just hanging out.
Just having a little midnight snack.
A little kiki. Mm-hmm.
April says, Heauxmetown Hero, Alien Encounter, Disney World. I know we've already done one of these, but this one was really good.
I could do these every day, so
Okay.
I'm good with that.
Hello, you beautiful, disrespectful icons. I'm writing in because your recent discussions of the legendary Alien Encounter ride gave me such intense emotional flashbacks. I nearly drove my car through a hedge. Back in the Magic Kingdom dark ages, sometime between 3rd and 5th grade, I voluntarily sat down for what I believed was going to be a fun little space adventure. Instead, I was strapped into a harness, the kind that make you think, wait, am I about to ride a coaster or undergo emergency dental surgery? Facing a central tube containing a truly disgusting moving alien. Then, of course, the lights went out. Because why wouldn't they? What followed was less a ride and more of an auditory, tactile, and psychological terror attack. The harness, which now realize were basically alien cattle prods, started vibrating and moving over my shoulders. I felt hot, stale alien breath in my ear, a detail that still makes me want to scream into a pillow, and something squirming by my feet. My reaction? I didn't just shed a polite cinematic tear. I went full banshee. I'm talking genuine, raw, blood-curdling screams because I was absolutely convinced this space monster was actively chewing on my tiny, unsuspecting body. I thought I was going to die in the center of Tomorrowland. The real victim, however, was my incredible mother sitting stoically beside me. The restrictive harness meant she couldn't physically reach across to console her screaming offspring, and the volume was cranked up to intergalactic industrial metal concert. So for what felt like 45 minutes, every single person in the dark room had to listen to the soundtrack of my childhood trauma, unable to look, speak, or move. I single-handedly ruined the collective magical Disney evening for at least 50 strangers. You're welcome, Magic Kingdom patrons of the mid-90s. For years afterwards, my family had to implement a scream-free zone policy. Someone always had to sit out with me. We hung out at the Galactic gift shop naturally, trying those truly horrific, brightly covered space wigs, which, by the way, made me immediately flash back to your discussion of lice. Yikes. Ooh. Anyway, look up the ride video if you dare, but trust me, nothing beats experiencing it live as a small child, a child who briefly turned the magical kingdom into existential horror kingdom. Love you, ladies. Keep the disrespect coming our way. The way that was written was poetry. Like, I loved it.
Also, it cleared something up for me because I was confused. I was like, does it move at all? Like the ride, it's not. You're just strapped in so you can't run away. And also, how long is it pitch black for? Like, I know it's like the alien running around. Like, who came up with this?
And jealousy I feel that I don't get to experience this.
I know. I'm so upset. But what were they thinking? It's like a kid's wonderland. The whole place is supposed to be, but then let's scare the shit out of these people.
I heard whoever came up with that ride went on to create all the Saw movies.
No way.
I'm kidding. But could you imagine? Yes.
The thing is, that's believable.
It is believable. I wonder what they're doing now. Truly, though.
I mean, it's just such a crazy thing, and I love that so many people experience it. Also, just your friendly Halloween reminder, write into your stories to disrespectfullypod@gmail.com. Keep them coming. We want your hometown heroes and your WWDDs. Should we do some of those?
Let's do some WWDDs now. I just got wax residue all over.
From what?
From my cheese wheel.
I was like, where is there wax in the room?
Look at it.
She did get cheese wheel wax all over her thing, but you know what? You're marking your territory. Michelle says, Dana, hair advice needed and some space factoids for funsies that no one asked for. Hi, ladies. Day one listener here. Love y'all and think you're the best. A couple things before I ask some much needed advice. My 6-year-old son, who once told us before he was born that he had been a one-eyed dog named Eddie, is obsessed with space and has been for years. He taught me so much about space that I didn't know existed. It's humbling. The first time he was telling me about a dwarf planet that I had never heard of, I thought he was making up a story. I had asked him things like, do people live on this planet? And other uninformed, aka stupid questions. It's fun to watch adults talk to him about space and show off their knowledge, and he will casually put them all in check in a way that only a 6-year-old that is completely unaware of social constructs.
I have a question for this person. Did you by chance like record a conversation with him about this? Because I've seen this exact scenario play out.
About space or about the one-eyed dog?
About a 6-year-old giving like crazy facts about a dwarf planets and...
Oh, interesting. Okay, respond back to the email because we can do a circle back if you
Okay.
could. A couple of things that I found interesting that I learned recently. The Kipper belt.
Kipper?
I mean, it says that I didn't know existed. It's pronounced, I would say that as Kipper, right? Kuiper? Or would be Kuiper? Okay, Kipper or Kuiper, I don't know. Is basically a belt of frozen planetary crummies on the edge of our solar system. Pluto was downgraded to a dwarf planet because it doesn't meet the third criteria of a planet, which is clear the neighborhood, meaning it is the dominant gravitational body in its orbital path. I thought that was interesting. So we learned the definition
Never knew
of
that.
dwarf planet.
Always been wondering, but never knew.
This is from the children's space books we read together, LOL. There's lots of other dwarf planets, not to be confused with dwarf planet candidates. Imagine if you're wanting to be a dwarf planet so bad and you're just a candidate. I'm like, this is bullshit. There's even a dwarf planet named Ceres in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter. The other four names are Eris. Oh my God, why did you do this
Haumea?
to me? Eris, Haumea, Make, and Quar. We just don't know. If this is remotely interesting, I highly recommend the Nurks videos. The host is one-eyed purple vampire puppet that sings songs about space alongside puppet planets. It sounds absurd, but it's made in order for kids that are super into space. That's cute. Anyway, my question. You mentioned that your hair was falling out due to hormonal imbalance. Can you share your story? What did you do and how did you figure out what the issue was? What did you do to fix it, etc.? My hair is falling out and I have no idea why. My husband is amazing and tells me I'm beautiful no matter what, but I'm vain and would like my hair back to normal. It's so upsetting and something no one talks about. Is this the part where my obligatory sorry, this is so long statement goes? LOL, Michelle. Okay, so, I mean, you definitely do not have this problem with that great head of hair, but it is so traumatizing, especially as a woman when your hair falls out and you don't know what's going on. I actually still don't know what happened to me and what I could pin it on. I know they say that every 7 years you have a hormonal change and like your hair can be part of it.
Oh yeah, no, I don't end up with like any kind of bald spots, but there's times where it's like I'm losing an insane amount of hair in the shower, like handfuls.
I don't know what it was for me, but I had been saying to my people, like my hair is falling out and no one really, I think, believed me. And then one day I was sitting on the couch with Raleigh watching TV and I just went like this and put my hand through my hair and I had a fistful of hair and I went Raleigh and I showed it to her and she went white and gasped, like her jaw dropped. So I think it's definitely improved for me. I obviously got extensions because I was feeling so bad about my hair. And I think that general extensions obviously aren't good for your hair, but if you're going to get them, go to someone who knows what they're doing because Alyssa really takes care of what she does. And I think it's the most minimal shedding it can be. I did start taking, I think it's called Visvical. Google it, starts with a V, about a year and a half ago. And I really do think it helped. And it's specifically hair stuff that like prevents falling out. And what is the other one? It's like minoxidil or something.
Yeah. That's
So-
usually mainly for men use it, but women can't.
So don't use the Rogaine for women. I started looking up a bunch of videos. Dermatologists can actually help you with hair. So if you're having an issue, definitely go to a dermatologist if you can. They can help you with like figure out what's going on with your scalp because a healthy scalp means a
healthy
hair.
Yeah, I think that most of the problems always start at the scalp.
right. So if you are going to use Rogaine, like the actual foam, use the men's version and the 5% strength. I found that out. Like it's kind of bullshit that they market one for women when everyone should be using that one. They also make pills that you can take with that medication. Also, just a word to the wise, it's harmful for pets. It's toxic for pets. So again, talk to someone who knows what they're talking about and be careful with having your pets be exposed to it. But I also think there's a myth that you can train your hair. Like I subscribed to that for a long time. So I was only washing my hair once every like 5 days. And then the dermatologist that I was talking to was like, a clean scalp is a healthy scalp, which leads to healthy hair. So I think do your own research on that. But keeping your scalp clean and then taking preventative medication can be really helpful as far as hair growth.
Yeah.
At least it was for me.
I think, yeah, like a clean scalp, obviously, but I think over cleansing, you're stripping away those like naturally occurring oils that are really great for hair growth and healthy hair overall. So it's like a healthy balance. Go to a scalp specialist.
Yeah.
Honestly,
there are resources out there, but then also they basically said when your hair starts to turn greasy is when you need to wash it. So it's everyone's scalp is different.
Mhm.
And I think this one size fits all, I'm just telling you what worked for mine.
Yeah.
But there's no real one size fits all.
hope it helps.
Hope that helps. And I'm really sorry you're going through that because we don't talk about it and it is really upsetting.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anonymous says, hi, Katie and Dana. I loved watching you both on VPR and so glad I found this podcast, but I'll keep it short because this might be a long one. So for background, I'm a mental health tech at a psych ward. I meet lots of unique individuals, and that includes people who hold the keys. So a little while back, we got this new girl at work and she seemed a little off at first, but I couldn't quite place what it is. That is until she told me all about how she is twin souls and soulmates with this semi-famous YouTuber. He has almost 7 million subscribers, but I've never heard of him, so who knows? She tells me about all these psychics she's paid to make them grow stronger and burning candles to make them come closer to Jesus, like performing witchcraft on this man. Super normal stuff. She told me she plans on moving to NYC to live with him, yet also told me he's never directly talked to her, but instead she will message him on Facebook or Instagram, and then he will incorporate what she said in his videos. For example, she would tell him about how it was raining on the way to work, and the next video he posted was about a rainy day. She somehow has this man's photo, and I've searched everywhere and can't find one picture of this man. She gets super defensive over him and even gifted herself flowers with the note claiming to be him and sent it to her work. She is 1000% stalking this man and believes he knows who she is and is in love with her. I have no clue what to do, but I feel like I'm in danger. I asked my siblings and my best friend I work with, and everyone said do not contact him about it, but I feel so bad. And what if she does something? Maybe I watch too many crime docs before sleep, but please give me any advice you may possibly have. Thank you in advance. I hope I'm still around by then to hear your advice. I don't know,
It is
man.
wackadoodle time.
Wackadoodle time. I think, like, yeah, obviously you're not going to convince this woman that she doesn't know him and she's having a psychotic experience. I don't know. I would maybe try to find out like who it's close relationships with, real relationships with, and maybe talk to them about it and discuss and say like, how serious is she about this? Like, is this just something that she fantasizes about a little bit? Or would she actually physically, move to New York and stalk this man and try to find him?
There's actually a term for what she's describing, and it escapes me. I'm sure someone is at home right now screaming it at their TV, but it's when that exact scenario of people, they think that the famous person in question is signaling. Well, it is a parasocial relationship, but there's a term for that kind of like psychosis that they think they're signaling them. She's like, I wrote in about rain, and then he talked about rain. That there's a thing for that.
Ooh.
This is a scary situation. I would say at work in terms of like running it up the flagpole, do they have a case of emergency contact? And then, I mean, obviously talk to your supervisor or whatever and see what they think, because it is a delicate balance of it's clear she's having an episode, but you don't want to overstep. And I would be not only concerned for that person that she's talking about, but
the people she's caring for,
her own well-being,
and the people she works in you work in mental health. Like,
yeah,
what on earth?
Yeah, I would say see what your supervisor advises, and then see if they maybe want to reach out to family and let them know this is going on. Because unfortunately, I don't think an intervention is for the workplace to be doing. It needs to be the people that are in her life.
Mm-hmm.
But that is kind of freaky. And also, if you want to message him, go ahead. Like, I don't see the harm in letting him know, like, hey, I have this person in my life that
I think a heads up would be good,
because they can't. Unfortunately, that's how it works. Until someone does something, there's no crime committed. Then what can they do? But yeah, I would say if you want to message him, go for it.
Yeah, but
it is wackadoodle time.
Can you update us when there's anything new changes or whatever?
And yeah, we hope you're listening. Anonymous says, hi, Dana, Katie, and crew. So sorry in advance for the length, but I feel compelled to write in because I've honestly become quite attached to this pod in recent months. I just went through a breakup with my boyfriend of 5 years, and I feel like people don't talk enough about how hard the quiet of it all is. So this pod helps me fill the quiet days with girl chat. It really is the best. So much respect for you both. Your pod really makes a difference. For context, I've had a hard year, to put it mildly. I lost both my dad and my sister 2 weeks apart in January. I lost my grandma a couple months prior to that, and then my ex and I lost our dog in June. I'm 100% still grieving and usually just trying to get through the day. Anywho, we broke up around Labor Day. In short, he had a drinking problem that led to severe verbal and emotional abuse that showed no signs of slowing down after all of this loss. His last episode was truly the last straw for me. I've never had someone scream such disgusting things at me completely unprovoked. I had to dig deep and respect myself enough to end it. Here's where I need help. Today, he repeatedly texted me and ultimately calling me to discuss the remainder of the large items in the house. I finally answered the call to hopefully get this out of the way so we can both be done with the conversation. He went on to tell me how people get mad and yell sometimes in reference to the abuse and tried to gaslight me into believing I was the reason for his violent behavior. How do we go from talking about who's keeping the bed frame and fridge to that? I've given him closure talks in person. There's nothing left to discuss. I'm finding peace in being alone, and I do not owe him my time or my conversation anymore. Not to sound self-deprecating, but I've been through enough this year. I'm tired. Please, no more emotional warfare. I've been very kind throughout the breakup process, but when I give him an inch, he takes a mile. He even hit me with an unsolicited dick pic last week. Such loser behavior. He's getting the rest of his shit this week and leaving the keys. Do I need to block him? What else should I do? No contact. Is changing the locks too extreme? I'm a little scared of his reaction if I do these things. Any advice is so greatly appreciated from you strong ladies. XOXO Anonymous. Well, first of all, I'm happy to hear how aware you are of the situation and how you know it's not your fault. I think all of this ties into his abusive behavior. I think it's for him to be sending unsolicited dick pics is so scary. And I think that abusers, like you said, you gave an inch, he took a mile. He's re-engaging you to talk about this thing over here and then brings up your relationship because he's always going to try to get his claws in. I think, first of all, if he's getting his shit and leaving the keys, please have someone else with you when he's doing this because I don't really want you alone with him in any way.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
And then when he does this, if you are living where you were, which it sounds like you are, yes, change the locks. Who cares what his reaction is going to be? Because what if you don't do these things to protect yourself? He could still have these reactions. So I would say change the locks, definitely block him, definitely go no contact. There's no reason for this person to be in your life once he gets his things.
I know for some people it's like, do you want to okay, who's going to take this? Who's going to take that? But the more you have to go back and forth, the more he's going to drag that out. Like he's kind of living for this because he still gets to get a hold of you. And I think if there's any way to just be like, you can have it all, you can have whatever you want, just to make it easier on yourself, I recommend that. I know it's like, why should you have to start over? But it just sounds like, yeah, you have been through enough. Seems like it would be just making your life easier and maintaining your peace and protecting it. So yeah, and then everything Dayna said about change the locks, have someone there with you, and then block him.
Also, I heard something recently that basically said when you're grieving, I mean, the first year, by the way, I really want you to go easier on yourself. This happened in January. That's crazy. And then your grandma before that and your dog, it takes 5 years for that whole process to be complete. So in the grand scheme of things, you're really early in your grief journey. So kudos to you for being able to stand up for yourself and leave something that's difficult when it would probably be easier to stay and have that comfort when the comfort is there.
Yeah.
So really sorry you're having such a hard year.
No.
We love you so much.
Hello, babes. Day one listener. UK listener. Anonymous, please. Before I start, fucking thank you for being so real. I'm a 40-year-old bisexual cis femme, and it's absolutely a delight to be served your refreshing perspective on a twice weekly basis. Now to get down to it. I've been single by choice for nearly 3 years after spending my 20s and 30s in relationships. It's been such a joy to focus on myself, my happiness, and establishing my independence. I've recently started dating again and finally had my first sexual encounter in a very long time. It was awful. The man was lovely and kind, etc., but so girthy. He could not get it in. We tried long foreplay, lots of lube, etc., but to no avail. After a few dates, he said we were obviously not sexually compatible and ended it. This has destroyed my confidence and I'm terrified now to try again. I don't know what's going on. But I may be perimenopausal, which could be creating some dryness up there. My vagina is narrower than average anyway, and smear tests are painful. Any advice for this anxious gal desperate to lose her virginity again? Big love, huns, XXX. No, this is not a you problem. I mean, perhaps maybe you aren't sexually compatible. I think there's more than one way to not be sexually compatible with anyone. So if it is just comes down to physical things like that, then sure, whatever, no loss. But I don't think you should give up. I don't want you to create a complex over this one encounter of somebody who, but I mean, I think, yeah, maybe you start with your lady doctor and see if they have any suggestions, or maybe it could be, I don't know. Did you ever watch Are You My First? About all the people on that. This girl had this thing called vaginismus, which is it was painful and difficult for her to have like any kind of penetrative anything. So I mean, like I know there are like these like legitimate real conditions that people have, but I would say talk to a doctor. I think if that's going to help with your confidence, but ultimately do not take this one encounter. And I know, of course, it had to be your first one in a long time as an indication that like it's a you problem. It's so not a you problem.
Also, if it doesn't fit, it doesn't fit.
Yeah.
There's, it's maybe, was it the Girth Master? You can tell us. I'm just kind of like, I understand that it felt damaging because it had been a while, but like Katie said, don't take that on and make it a thing. Also, try again. Try someone else. Like, I think,
like Goldilocks.
Yeah. I'm looking for one that's just right. No, Goldie Cox. Remember? Samantha had this problem. Hello.
Yeah.
Samantha couldn't do it. No one could. Yeah, I just think, talk to your doctor if you need to, but also I think you just need to try getting out there more. And maybe it is perimenopause, but you used lube. So to me, this was a big fat dick and it just wasn't going to work. So I'd say keep trying. Get back on the saddle with someone else with a smaller saddle.
Yeah. Again, it's not about the size. It's about what they do with it.
Mm-hmm.
And how it fits inside of you.
Yes. And some people aren't sexually compatible, like we said. So our overarching thing is just don't make this about you. It wasn't a you thing.
No, absolutely not.
Anonymous says, hey, Katie and Dana. So a 20-year best friendship of mine blew up over a pool party and years of uncommunicated pent-up frustration. I'm deeply sad, grieving, but also so damn angry.
Sounds like a storyline of Vanderpump Rules.
It sure does. I planned a joint birthday party for my spouse and my sister-in-law and rented a pool, which was an Airbnb, but for pools. And expensive as hell since we didn't live in a state with many pools. It was pricey AF, like should have come with sparklers and Paris Hilton expensive. Instead of me asking people to pay the full split, I asked the handful of friends who came up to chip in $50 so it wasn't such a burden. Everyone who came except my one friend was happy to pay and didn't think otherwise. After the party and 2 months of silence, my oldest friend finally responded with rage text. And when I say that she was being cruel, I mean deeply cruel, not just to me, but to my wife. She mocked us for having a land acknowledgement sign in our yard. She accused me of being fat phobic because I once said I wanted chin liposuction for myself.
Okay.
She mocked my career, sneered at our modest house, and called my life Schitt's Creek in reverse. Because in her head, I went from rags to riches and turned bougie. Reality, I grew up with financial instability and a broken home, and after years of grinding my career, I'm finally comfortable. She has been supported by her family her whole life, and she has never known financial struggle. Meanwhile, I was responding calmly. I was apologizing to smooth things over, clarified my intent, and pulled up actual receipts of when she accused me of lying about her trip. My Delta Airlines and Chase credit card booking email receipts do not lie. I was genuinely trying to mend things, even though she was hurling vitriol. At this point, it hit me. She didn't want a resolution. She wanted to hurt me. So I sent one final message, dropped the receipts like a mic drop, and blocked her. 2 decades of friendship gone. So what now? Do I grieve it like a death? Do I laugh and keep moving? Or do I send her a fruit basket that says, congratulations on the projection? What would you do? Disrespectfully yours. A longtime listener who may be the drama, but definitely not the liar. I mean, I would say that it's always their side, your side, and the truth kind of situation. So I'm glad that you're keeping that open. But overall, this person's not your friend.
Mm-mm.
That's for them, especially if they've been supported by their family their whole life and haven't known struggle. I don't know. I would be thrilled for my friend who came from nothing and pulled themselves up and made this beautiful life for themselves. So why is she turning all these things that she should be cheering for into things that she's acting like it's a character flaw in you? I think that she's just not your friend. So I know you're looking at it right now as a 20-year loss, but I would say that's a gain there.
Yeah.
Like, even though it feels like a deficit right now, yeah, absolutely grieve it. That's a huge change. That feels sad, but I think that you've now opened yourself up for people in your life that are actually rooting for you. Like, this is an op, a secret op disguised as a friend. So
I know, and sometimes people look at us like we've been friends for this amount of years, so that way, like, how could, things change. People change, and you grow out of relationships, most importantly. So I think, like Dana said, this is a win, not a loss, even though it feels the opposite of that. And it probably just feels frustrating. You're probably shocked by it more than anything because, like, why should they have an issue with that? So I think you may not feel it now, but eventually you're going to be grateful for this. And also, like, it just proves to yourself that, like, how important boundaries are and protecting your energy and peace.
Yep.
Hope that helps.
Hope that helps. Sorry that happened, though. Is a bummer.
Know,
like,
it is a
give
bummer.
and definitely don't just push past it. Grieve it. It's okay to be sad about it.
Yeah, it's not like Paris Hilton was there. Okay. Anonymous says, hi, disrespectfully. I need advice on a relationship that's been dragging on for a few years and is really messing with my head and weighing on my conscience. About 2 years ago, I dated this guy and it was great until it got messy. Things got intense really fast. We were basically living together, spending all of our time together, and totally dove in. But I wasn't in a good or healed place yet, and I had a lot of trust issues. It just got too heavy too fast and ended abruptly after a bad fight, which was devastating, but also not surprising given the pace of the relationship. A few months later, we started hooking up again. It was chaotic at first, then settled into this steady friends with benefits thing. The last time we hooked up was in February. 5 days later, literally 5, he got back with his college ex and proposed. Ugh. I didn't know until a couple months later when he asked to talk in person at 1 a.m. and came to my house to tell me. I don't know. If I was his fiance, I can't imagine I'd want my man going to his ex's house alone in the middle of the night, no matter what the conversation was. Since then, he's wanted to stay friends, but it's never actually felt like that. He still sends late night texts, meets up with me when we're out, and there's always an undertone. His fiance is a nurse, so she's not around a lot, which doesn't help because I've never seen her out with him or anything. I think she's typically at work when he's out at night coming to bars I regularly frequent in my neighborhood, even though he lives on the other side of the city. Recently, we met up at a bar we both like by my house. It felt easy, familiar, and a little too natural. He was flirty, and when we were saying goodbye, he kissed me. I pulled back and said, aren't you engaged? He apologized and said he got caught up in the moment and admitted he'll probably always have some kind of feelings for me. Since then, he's gone back to texting me the same playful inside joke stuff he was sending before the kiss, like nothing happened. I'm not trying to send a hey girly, just so you know message because I don't even know the fiance, but I'm such a girl's girl that I genuinely feel bad for this woman. I have opinions.
I have opinions too.
Also, I know I've let this drag on longer than I should and take some responsibility for that. The relationship ended so abruptly that I think there's always been unresolved feelings, but this just feels wrong. It's really messing with my head, and I know I should probably just cut him off, but I'm not sure how to not have this weigh on me. What do I do here? XOXO Anonymous. Well, you said it yourself. You should probably take a responsibility here. I think you should take a lot of responsibility here. It's on him as well. Absolutely. He's a dog, and he's always going to be a dog, no matter if he's engaged to his college girlfriend who's a nurse, or he's hooking up with you, or meet somebody new. Like, this man is a dog. Let's call it what it is. So why are you already know. Like, oh yeah, so we met up. Why are you meeting up at the bar? Why are you telling him to come over? If you know this man is engaged, delete him, ignore him. Like, let him be. Like, yeah, is it inappropriate that he's reaching out to you? 100%, but it's also inappropriate that you're engaging with it. I'm just saying it takes two to tango here. Like, and I know maybe you still have feelings and it feels good that this man still, in a way, like, is after you while he's supposedly engaged to someone else. But that is a twisted way of thinking. And I don't mean to be mean when I say this, but like, this is also your fault.
Yeah, I know. I think you came to us because we're going to give you the business, and perhaps you need to hear some tough love right now, but you are equally culpable in this. Look, first and foremost, he is the one that's engaged. He is absolutely the one doing something wrong, but given your history and knowing it, you can't just be, clearly it's already been proven to you, you guys can't just be friends. Even if there's a flirtation and nothing happening, there's always going to be escalating behavior. So even the fact that you guys had been hanging out and, you know, I'm guessing his fiance doesn't know about that, and then he kissed you. People don't typically just kiss people for no reason. He felt like he had an opening. So there was something that was going on. So I feel like you definitely need to tell him, this isn't appropriate. I'm not comfortable with it. We can't be friends. Like, you're moving on, and don't try to justify it to yourself and tell yourself, well, I'm going to see him out anyway. Okay, well, if you see him out, then ignore him. Yeah. But I think you need to set a clear boundary, and then you need to perhaps do some self-reflection of why that attention from this man who is engaged is making you feel some kind of way. And I understand you have a history and it feels unresolved, but like, he's engaged. It is resolved. It doesn't really matter why you guys ended or why you didn't work out. And I actually think friends with benefits is a slippery slope anyway if you've dated in the past, because even if you tell yourself, oh, I can just be friends with this person and hook up with them, you probably felt really hurt when he was engaged 5 seconds later, because you were hoping that it either developed into something more or that you would be able to continue that situation. Mm-hmm. And I totally get that. And I'm giving space for that being hurtful. But his fiance definitely doesn't deserve this. And unfortunately, she's marrying a dog. So it is what it is.
And if it's not going to be you, he's chasing tail after, like, it's going to be someone else. So like, don't let it be that. Don't let yourself be that person in this situation.
Yeah. Exactly.
anymore.
I think that there's shared responsibility here for sure. And please cut it off with him. Stop talking to him. It's going to lead you nowhere good.
Yeah. Sorry. Love you.
Yeah,
but
we do love you. But also, I think that love and being a good friend or Coven member is telling the truth
Yeah.
and not sugarcoating it. So, I really do hope this helps you.
I do too.
And fuck that guy. What a loser.
Yeah, he's a loser. You don't even mess. Save your energy for someone else.
Le who, they her. I think that's the
That's
episode.
it. That's all, folks.
Okay, great. Well, until next time. Okay, love you. Bye.
Okay, love you. Bye.
Babe, you're gonna see the power of women. Like, disrespectfully.